He had reached the age of retirement, and in just 1 week, he would be leaving the police station where he had worked for many years. To ensure a smooth transition, the department had assigned an energetic young officer to take over his position. During this final week before retirement, his primary task was to guide the young officer in familiarizing himself with the work environment and completing the handover. The two men were quite different, one mature and steady, the other passionate and impulsive. The stark contrast in their personalities led to mutual dissatisfaction. On Monday, the first case occurred. At the crime scene, an extremely obese man was found dead inside a house. The word obese seemed inadequate to describe his physique. The victim's face was buried in a large bowl of pasta, his mouth stuffed with food. After an examination, the coroner concluded that the killer had held a gun to the victim's head, forcing him to eat continuously until his organs were filled to the brim, ultimately causing him to be eaten to death. Initially, the veteran officer was reluctant to take on the case. His instincts told him that the culprit behind this crime was no ordinary criminal, and with retirement looming, he didn't want to invite trouble. However, after repeated requests from his superiors, they began their pursuit of the killer. Little did they know that in the coming week, they would be engulfed in endless darkness. On Tuesday, a famous lawyer was murdered in his own office. The killer had drained the blood from his body and used it to write the word greed on the floor. The lawyer's wife's photograph had been marked with blood-red glasses. The investigation revealed that the lawyer had specialized in defending criminals, helping them to overturn their cases while charging exorbitant fees. Meanwhile, the old officer discovered new clues at the fat man's house, the word gluttony written in grease and a note. After reporting back to the station, the young officer was puzzled, but the veteran detected a connection between gluttony and greed. They were both among the 7 deadly sins. It was clear that the killer was imitating the 7 deadly sins in his crimes. If nothing unexpected happened, there would be 5 more murders to come. The young officer was skeptical, believing the killer to be just a random madman. However, he was quickly proven wrong. The police found numerous fingerprints in the lawyer's room, arranged to spell out help. The old officer understood that these couldn't possibly have been left by the killer. As expected, the police traced the fingerprints to their owner in an apartment, where they found a desiccated corpse that had been dead for at least a year. It turned out that the killer had tied the man to a bed for an entire year, providing him with just enough nutrients to keep him alive, subjecting him to endless torment. The man had been a lazy addict, corresponding to the sin of sloth. The killer had severed his left hand and deliberately pressed his fingerprints in the lawyer's room as a taunt to the police's incompetence. The two officers could only be led by the nose by the killer. When a reporter suddenly appeared at the crime scene to take photos, the young officer angrily smashed his camera. The old officer, having never worked with such an impulsive partner, could only try to calm him down with gentle persuasion. The killer was meticulous, never leaving fingerprints, and even had the patience to imprison a person for an entire year. Unfortunately, due to copyright restrictions, I can only share the story of this movie up to this point. The title of the film is Se7en.